Did it work? Oh my god. Hey. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me well? Oh my gosh, that was my sweater. I'm sorry. I'm on my
No, you're okay. Sorry, I look terrible because it was a long day. And normally I'm good. How are you? Normally I would do this in the studio room, but I'm actually watching that episode.
I just had it up while I was taking my notes. I have a literal notepad in front of me that I use for my
Oh my
classes.
god, that's what I need to do, but I'm just gonna improvise today because it was a long day. Okay, so I think this is the new link. I don't know if you already shared it because the other one was not letting me add
I
you.
deleted it. I took it down the
Okay.
second you said you were gonna come on.
Sorry,
No
because
worries.
it wasn't letting me add you, and I guess I had to like fix the YouTube setting. But yeah, I'm really excited to like do this because we're both obsessed with the show, so it's like super fun.
I'm nervous. I've like shared, the nervous part is not from talking about the show, but I've shared on Twitter, I think at least, like what my face looks like. But this is the first time I think like people who I've like from my Instagram who've ever seen it, or at least in the past 2 years. I think like 3 years ago when I first started university, I shared a selfie as like because I've been running that account since 2018. So that was very big for me to do that. And now it's my full face. They're hearing my voice. Still a little
No,
nervous.
don't be,
Oh
because
my
obviously
gosh.
everybody knows that there's a person behind every account or whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's fine. I mean, on the media side of the page, like we will sometimes post like stuff from the carpet, stuff from obviously the interviews and stuff, but we don't always like when it's like a little photo post, because every post
Yeah.
hits like a different audience. It doesn't always hit your audience. It hits the algorithm so differently that you never know. That's why like one post will get 50,000 views, one will get 10. So it's always somebody different, and then you'll have like the people who always see it, but I feel like it'll be good. And you'll also get the people from the YouTube live just hopping on and off.
Yeah.
So it'll be like lots of different people. But I feel like this will be fun if we do it like maybe regularly. It'll hopefully garner like because somebody actually commented on my video today and was like, "Please do a Criminal Minds short." I was like, "Okay, we're gonna get to it. I swear." I still need to do my reaction. Maybe I'll do my reaction. I might do like a Will death reaction because I feel like long enough time has passed that nobody can complain about spoilers now.
I was a mess. Oh.
I know. I just can't believe they did that. Like, and
I,
it was episode was it 1 or 2? I can't remember.
it was the end of episode 2. Oh
So
my
episode
gosh.
2. So that's kind of like throwing you right in. I mean, there's episode 1, but episode 2 just doing that. And I guess we did expect it, but it's also really hard because he's been on the show since 2007. And I know I recently told you about like how Bobby Nash's death like broke my heart.
Oh my
This is
gosh.
worse because he's been around like longer than that. 911 was
It's a combination of Bobby Nash died, then they killed off Will Montaigne. We just watched spoilers for The Last of Us, if anyone's following that. But we just watched Joel die.
right.
They're killing off all of our favorite TV dads, and I was not okay with that, especially with Will. That hit me a lot harder than I was expecting because I think you're right. Everybody was expecting it.
Yeah, and it was like
I just saw the comment.
generally.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, almost knocked my light over. Yeah, I feel like they are killing them off, and I hope they don't kill anybody else. I mean, when I go back in the seasons and I think about like Hotch leaving and Gideon and then Shamar, Morgan, I'm like, there's so many people have like left, but then like Will like dying was just so depressing for me.
That's harsh. I mean, I find it. I do not encourage this by any means. I really don't want them to do this. And Erica Messer, please don't hear my words because she tends to bring out the worst. I was more. I thought it was more likely they kill off Hotch before they ever killed off Will, because it's kind of been made apparent that they're not planning on welcoming Thomas Gibson back as much as I'd love to see him back. And I was really and truly expecting him for them to kill off Hotch. I don't think they ever will because I think he's too loved of a character. But Will, that was rough. I don't want to do that again. This episode was heartbreaking.
I know, and I just feel like where is JJ? I don't know, because I won't spoil this next episode, episode 4, but I just feel like she had her work, she had her kids, and she had like her and Will's relationship. And now she kind of just has like her kids and work, which is still really important. But where is she gonna go from here? Because I don't know, like it's hard.
Yeah.
And episode 4 will explain kind of a little bit without spoiling it, but it does get crazy and it's a crazy case and it's already freaked me out. So it's a good episode, and they kind of went straight into it. So it's like you get the funeral in the previous episode, but then you get thrown back into craziness again. So it's very. I'll just put like whoa, they don't hold back, which is
I
good in a way, but
Yeah, them not holding back is kind of an issue with me because I feel like a lot of people tend to complain, especially like I see it on Twitter, like in my comments a lot of people. It's not that it's meant to be realistic for this show, or it should be a little bit realistic, but I will hope that there's a lot, like even a tiny time skip of like a week or something. I don't like the idea of every single time something bad happens, there's no downtime. They don't take a second to like they're all trained in psychology, but there's no mental health care with them taking time off after being tortured or kidnapped. Like 2 weeks is not enough after being kidnapped and tortured, like JJ did in 200. It's not enough after losing the love of your life to jump right back into a case. And I also think it's painting a really irresponsible way of the characters with Emily and Rossi letting JJ come back to work. It's
yeah,
weird.
and I think they will touch on it in this episode without telling you.
You can tell me
Which
after. It's
yeah,
okay.
exactly. So in a good way, they will kind of like touch on that because you're right with everything you just said, and I think that's why they're trying to do it like this without spoiling it. But I'm glad that usually with these series, we'll get like the entire series because I was scrolling in my screeners for season 17 and they gave me the whole thing at once. But they're doing it differently this time where they're giving the next episode to us a couple like so they'll probably give me they just gave me this one 3 days ago. I think they give me the one episode ahead of everybody else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when it comes out, I'm getting the next one,
Oh my
which
god.
I think is interesting that they're doing that now. I've never spoiled things anyway. Even when you interview, you say something a certain way so that people can't tell the audience can't tell what you're talking about, but the talent knows what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting that they're doing that this time. And in my opinion and in my like expertise of like journalism, when they do that, it's usually because something big is expected to happen in a show. Because
I
that's what HBO did with The Last of Us. And I mean, people have played the game and you know what happened in The Last of Us.
yeah.
My thing is like, what else can happen that's so big other than Will dying? Like, what could possibly happen? Like,
That I
what?
feel like I do know the answer to, but I
I
won't say
mean,
that.
yeah, like, and I'm like, is
I
it,
very much know the answer to that of what I think is coming based
yeah,
like I found a lot of behind the scenes photos because I follow closely very to the crew, so I know who's in what scenes and what are the places that people are have there's filming in. So we can have that discussion later if you want
I
it.
know. Me and you will talk. It's funny though,
Yes.
because it's like I like to put so many even when I know something, I still like to like test out like theories and stuff. But I'm
Yeah.
like, my mind just blanked. But Zach's character, why did I just completely forget? Voit.
Yes.
He him losing his memory is wild to me because as like the scene where he's in the hospital and I think the older victim comes in, the previous one of his victims comes in and she's like trying to remember like and remind him, but then she like freaks out and goes back and then she goes back in. I wouldn't know how it'd feel like as a victim to go head to head with someone who did that to me, but then they have no memory loss, so they're technically a different person, but they're not. That's such like a conflict of feelings. But I feel like his whole thing, his memory, I don't know, like that part, I don't know what they're gonna do with that. Like that, I don't know. I haven't dug as deep.
I think that scene was really. I know AJ Cook. She did amazing this episode. I don't think like I've seen a lot of her films and some of her like her guest starring spots. This was a different episode for her. Seeing the way she acted and reacted to this, like I think it was one of her best performances. And then with Zach too, Zach isn't getting a lot of coverage for this episode for obvious reasons. But his when he's broke down crying in front of Rossi and Tara and was fully freaking out, going, "Did I kill them? Or is it my fault?" I was my jaw was on the floor. It was like 2:30 in the morning when I watched this the first time. Jaw was on the floor because I felt almost bad for him. I don't think it's very rare when you feel like actual sympathy for a serial killer, especially knowing everything he's done to everyone on the team. He did really good with that, and then with the storyline involved, I that was rough. I think the editing was really good when they first showed Ramona, who was the victim.
Yeah.
She right after she rejected Luke asking her to come in. We have this scene where she wakes up and she sees like the flashback of Voight right in her face. and that scared the hell out of me. Absolutely, I jumped, and I think that was really good. And then it kind of brought you back to what it felt like to be her, to constantly be seeing him but not know anything about what's happening. And then when you said just now about him also not knowing what's happening, it's a hard place to be. I really want to see what they're going to do with that because I wouldn't want to know. I didn't know what to go from there. I hope she has a happy ending because that her story was really distressing.
I know, and I also sympathize with him, but at the end, with knowing that he's gone through stuff, but I always sympathize with the villain. Like even Daredevil Born Again, I sympathize with Kingpin, but I don't like them. I sympathize with them, but I don't like them because I know they probably could have. They still had the choice somewhat to not do what they're doing,
Yeah,
but I still sympathize with them. But the whole memory loss thing, like not knowing who you are, but he starts to remember, his family. So at the end of that episode 3, so it's kind of like, is that gonna trigger him to remember that he's a serial killer? I don't know, and I think I always like when they have this main story and then they have other killers, like, so
yeah,
no spoilers for season 4, but I mean, episode 4, but, that's, like, one of my favorite things, that they don't just, like, stick to one thing, like, they still keep you entertained with, like, something crazy that's somewhat linked to the main storyline, so that's very interesting. Um, that JJ slap scene.
oh my gosh.
Will's mom is crazy. I can't believe she slapped JJ, but good on JJ for telling her how it is. And I'm glad they worked it out in the end, but
I
that was
thought that was
crazy.
sweet. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I was kind of shocked that, like, I understand the concept of like, oh, don't get involved. This isn't really our fight, or like this is so outside the realm of personal. But knowing that Emily and Penelope witnessed the slap and didn't say anything, I was kind of shocked about that because we've seen them stand up for each other all the time. But I think that was such a individual situation, a unique situation of that. I will not fault for Emily and Penn not getting involved. Yeah, I was a little upset about that. I was kind of expecting, like a bigger reaction. Them just kind of standing there shocked was seemed out of place almost. I don't know how
Yeah.
you felt
They
about it.
must have like a reason behind that. There has to be. These are all things I'm like taking mental notes for if I get to do like interviews, but yeah, Nick. Well, yeah. Yes, yes, yes. That's my friend Nick. He owns MCU and he's one of our editors too.
Oh, cool.
Super cool.
That scene with the slapping though, it that looked rough. I mean, it's such a this episode. I think anybody who's dealt with grief, especially that immediate aftermath of losing somebody like that, where tensions are so high, it felt so realistic. I thought even the way JJ was reacting, trying to keep herself busy, and like her mother-in-law being there, constantly hovering over her shoulder, and her trying to take care of her kids, everything happening all at once. The slap was like a big cut in the tension. That felt like a moment of silence almost in the episode right when that happened, and it was really well done. I don't know. That scene took me out of everything in the moment.
Yeah, it kind of like woke you up almost, you know?
Yeah,
Like, "What? They did that?"
I replayed it. I think I went
'Cause
back
you
and
'cause you used to like, them fighting, fighting crime, all this crazy stunts and action, but that was just kind of like, "How could they?"
yeah.
I did like that part.
It's also a personal injury. It's an emotional one too.
Mhm.
Getting slapped by someone who, and I think they were meant to have like a not as I want to say like they didn't want to paint Connie as neurotic almost, but in season 17 when we see not season 17 season 16 when we see JJ and Will walk out of the oncologist's office or the doctor's office, she makes a threat almost to Will, being like, I'm not going to call my mom, I'm calling your mom. Almost like they did have a nice relationship before,
Mhm.
everything kind of went to hell.
Yeah.
And so I hope, I don't know, seeing like a mom figure slap her, that was rough. That was so incredibly harsh.
It
I don't
was, and then her kinda saying, like, "You don't know how it feels, a mother to lose a son." And it's like, okay, but her husband has children with her, those children lost their father. So they, like, pose that question, like, well, whose pain is, like, more, where everybody's pain is the same, and it's just felt a different way at the end of the day.
and a lot of the like saying things you can't take back. I think at one point like right before the slap and before JJ screamed at her, Connie said something along the lines of, the only way this could be even in any way is if one of the boys inherited whatever went wrong with Will and they died, then you know how I feel. Whew,
Yeah!
that was a heavy line.
That was crazy. Nick said evolution has gone a darker direction. It's true, like, that was wild, like, them say like, her saying that, I was like, "Oh my god, not her own grandkids," like,
I know.
even if she didn't, like, want mean it to in a way to happen, but to even say it, it's like
Yeah.
wishing
I'm a
that
candle
pain.
eye person. You don't say that kind of thing. That's
Yeah,
mean.
no,
Never
that
put
was
that out to the
crazy.
universe.
That was insane. I did not like that at all. I was like, "Those are," I mean, these are not real people, but they feel real to me, so I was like, "How dare you?"
Absolutely no. That was. Whew, I had words at that moment. I think I was trying to keep it down because I live in an apartment building. So, me not yelling at 2:30 in the morning about that, being going, "Who are you talking to? Why did you say that?" Oh, how do you feel about Reid coming back?
I mean, I've always wanted Reid to come back because I love Reid and his cardigans. I feel like out of everybody who left, I mean, I loved Agent Morgan, but I think I just loved Reid because my inner nerdy, awkward person that didn't fit in felt like Reid, especially like me growing up, and
Mhm.
then him finding his like family and home with the BAU. So when he left, I was really sad. I'm glad he came back, but I feel like it wasn't as like, like as I expected. It wasn't as like, oh my God, Reid is back. Like, I don't know if they're gonna continue to put him in the more episodes. Like they haven't told me. I have no idea. I thought it was cool and cute how they did it, and it was sweet and it was like emotional, but it wasn't. It didn't hit me as impactful as I thought it would. I don't know why.
No, and I know they kind of said in interviews about how they wanted the dialogue to be minimum, no words needed. I think they needed the words because that was
Yeah,
kind of
it's
it was a lot of build up for nothing, in my opinion.
yeah, I agree, and I feel like well, we want the words, man. We want full Read. We don't just want his face.
I was a little especially upset that we didn't get him at the it's not like an after party. I don't want to call it that, but when they all went to Penelope's. That's a horrible way to
The
say that.
what is the word from that?
It's not the wake. The wake is before usually. Is it the
The
wake? I think so.
repass? Is it a repass? Is
I
that
have
what
no
it's called?
idea.
I don't know, but the after event of a funeral.
Celebration of life, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Them going back, I was expecting to see Reed there and hopefully us getting more time with him because with Goobler going off to do his series Einstein, I don't expect him back in the near future for another episode. So I thought this would be like an opportunity for Kermit to close off, give him like a proper happy ending. I know they always want to keep the door open for him coming back, but I wanted to hear him talk about, Max is good, his girlfriend from season 15. I wanted to hear that he had a baby on the way. I don't know, I'm dramatic. I
A
wanted a
mini read.
happy ending. Yes, I want a baby Reed in that universe because he's always wanted to be a dad. I wanted that happy ending, and we didn't get it. The episode absolutely should have focused on JJ, and I don't blame them for keeping the focus there. But his return should have been a lot more bigger with all the noise they made about him
Yeah.
coming back.
Well, hopefully we get like something else. Maybe.
Yeah.
We can hope. But
Yes.
yeah, I feel like it was a little it wasn't as hyped. It didn't meet my expectations, but I'm happy they brought him back. It's just when I interviewed Emily, I think it was last year, and I asked her like, "Who would you want back?" And she was
Yeah.
it's like Reed. I was like, "Oh my god, oh my god." Maybe we should all repost that clip. I need to
It's funny because I brought that up again. I tried to tag her in on Twitter. I was like, I added her in the caption, tagged her in the caption, saying, "Pageant, did you know he was coming back when this?" She didn't reply, but maybe I should try again because
yeah,
now
and
I
I can
really
make
want
like
to
a
know
little
if she has
post with that
anything.
clip. I'll send it to Nick too. We can make like a little post with the
Oh,
clip with the interview clip and then Reed's clip and then
she
like
she said
we
she was excited about it too. She's like, I have to say Matthew B. Goobler, and I'm like, what do you know? That's my question. Looking back at that, what did you know? Did
I know. I'm gonna pull that up. I'm gonna I need to start because I see a lot of outlets do this. They'll like when they do something initially they post the clips, but then as time goes by and something big happens on the show, they'll bring the clips back. So that's gonna be one of my missions this weekend.
yes,
Um but yeah, but I really do okay, so SWAT is over.
but it's got a
I
spin
feel
off.
like Morgan could come I do we if he came back now, would it be random? Like, has too much time gone by? And does Prentice have her new, little friend? Not Prentice, sorry. Does Penelope have her new friend? But I feel
Yeah.
like but it'd be funny to see Morgan come back and see like those two kind of like fight for Penelope.
Oh gosh, that'd be hilarious. I want to see. I think Shamar is there. I think SWAT's getting a spin off series where
I
he
believe
it's just
so.
him. I
but
hope
I
it comes
didn't.
back.
I got a press release for something. I need to read it because my email is a mess. It's crazy. Like the amount of press releases we get every single morning is probably like 50 to 60 emails, and it loses the emails that actually need responses too. But
Oh
I
my
saw
gosh.
something, but I don't know if it's like immediate because it takes a while to like produce and put out there. But at least if he comes back for like a couple of episodes,
Ooh, yeah.
because even when Stabler got his own show with organized crime.
He still
Him
comes over.
and Yeah, they do a lot of crossovers, and that's why I love SVU and Organized Crime and Law and Order because you still kind of get your like original characters in some way, shape, or form. So they
Yeah.
could do like a crossover or something. I don't know. We have hope.
My thing is, I want to know how they would bring Morgan back into it because with Morgan, he left because he wanted to be with his family and exclusively with his family. And I think his last, well, not his last episode, but his last episode officially on the team, he kind of mentioned to Hodge saying, "This needs to be my focus," something along that lines. His family. So I want to know what would bring him back to the BAU and in what capacity because would, oh, I guess no, because they never really clarified on whether or not Emily is still section chief and if Rossi went back to being unit chief. I think she still holds both titles, but that was never clarified and they're kind of terrible at continuity.
Yeah, that's very true.
Oh,
Um, hmm.
that's a
Well,
whole thread I have waiting to
I'm trying to
post
think. How
about.
old
Oh
was
my
Morgan's family when
god.
he left?
His
Like,
son should be, well, his son's about since season 11. Season 11 was 2015, 2016, and this current season is taking place in 2023. I can't do math. I'll leave you to do that. But
I feel like they would be like at a good age where he could potentially. I don't know. I don't know. Because I mean, when you look at JJ's kids, they're not grown, but they've grown up.
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, they'll the writers will figure something out. I'm over here like really trying to put it together. Like, what could they?
in my head, I've always wanted Hotch to come back, but not in the BAU because I feel like one of the big reasons he left is to leave the BAU behind and all the dangers that come with it. I want to see him come back in a similar role to Rebecca, which I know sounds
Mhm.
weird, but we know that Hotch used to be a prosecutor and he used to work with the DA's office, and that's how he got his start in fighting crime. But and then he moved over eventually back to he moved over to the BAU so he could do it on a more immediate level. So if I could bring back Hotch, who I really want to because I love Hotch and Emily together. I'm one of those people.
No,
Absolutely,
I
I don't
do
know.
too. Trust
Okay,
me, I
good.
do too.
I love those
I'm
two
with you
together.
there. I want Hodge back too in some way, shape, or form. Hodge
Yeah,
and I mean, I loved Gideon, but I feel like that was too far gone in his storyline. Like, you can't really bring his story. You can't really bring him back,
no, he's like super
like
dead.
dead.
Do you want to see Jill back? I'm curious because Rossi keeps getting with these blonde ladies, and I don't know if we want to see her back in like a romantic sense or should she come back as like a consultant the way she was
Hmm.
the previous season with Gold Star? Would you want to see Jill back? I feel like
Would
she
I
didn't
want to
have
see?
it as
I mean, I'm
much.
always for characters like coming back, unless I really hated a character. And with this show, I don't think there's ever been a core character that I've hated. More just serial killers that I've hated. Like I've never really like. I mean, I would like Jill Rossi to like make an appearance.
I think
Is
that'd
there
be
any character
interesting.
that I wouldn't want to see back?
I want to see Seaver, see what she's doing because we know she's still in the FBI.
Yeah.
But I don't think Rachel Nichols would ever come back given what happened. And then I don't think Jordan Todd would ever make a reappearance, so I can't really see that happening. I also don't think I feel strongly enough about her to want her to make an appearance that badly. I think it'd be cool, but
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
don't know. Are there any other characters?
I can't think.
Well, Kate and Blake definitely. Blake's retired.
I feel
How
like
does
it's.
Blake?
I feel like because Evolution is a little bit different too to the other show.
Yeah. Oh,
Also, I think is it me or do you think they increased the lighting in the show a little bit this season?
they fixed it a little bit, but not enough.
Not enough, because I'm just
it's
like, am I the only one that's blind? Or
I don't notice it until I go in and I do like I make my little scene things or I edit the clip
like
itself,
clip?
and then I realize what it could actually be compared to the original series. Like when I'm editing, a video or making an edit itself, there's like a certain level of amount of like brightness, the effect I have to add to the original series clips versus the evolution one. Evolution one, I can turn it all the way up and I still have room to double the effect and go further. With the original series, maybe like half. So there's
Yeah.
definitely. that.
There's that
Yeah,
big up and down.
yeah.
It's crazy because it's not the only show that's done that. I don't know if it's a streaming trend or something weird, but
Not
when I
enough because I know Bridgerton, like Bridgerton's another series I love. They do it well. They don't have to worry about their lighting. That's in 4K. That's a streaming, like on a streaming exclusive platform. So it's, I don't. They can't keep blaming Paramount.
I know, I don't know. But not just Paramount, like I've seen what was I watching the other day? I was watching something. It was a superhero I can't remember because I watched so much stuff. I was watching something and I had to keep turning the brightness up on the TV to the point where I gave up and I started watching it on my computer because I turned the brightness all the way up. I also did that with the Batman movie, but I know
Yeah.
the Batman they did that on purpose, but I
Yes.
have such bad vision either way with glasses or contact lenses. I still can't see in the dark. So if the movie is in the dark, I'm going to have to be like this on the screen, like up and close because I just can't see.
For
Hmm.
streaming stuff, I
Yeah.
keep
I
on
mean,
my
I hope they fix it a little bit more because it's one of my favorite shows in since it became alive. Like I keep calling her Prentice because I'm so connected to this character, but it's so funny when she asked me like, "Were you even born when the show started?" I was like, "Yes,
I do.
I
I
was
remember.
8."
Oh my gosh. I
She's
think
like,
I was 2.
"Oh, well, you know what? We had great TV taste."
We did. Oh, my brother was the one who got me into the show. He used to watch it all the time, and because he was the one who babysat me, so I'd watch whatever he watched. So that meant even though I was around 10, we were watching Family Guy and Criminal Minds. Probably not something you should show a 10-year-old,
Yeah, or
but
an 8-year-old.
no, absolutely. And yeah, that's how I got my start in it. I think when I first started watching the series, as it came out, it was season 12. So Reid was just in prison. That was my first, watching the episodes come out week by week. And I think that's it. I've dropped into the deep end with there. See, having to like deal with the episode by episode week. How would you prefer the week by week episodes or
Um,
having them all at once the way like some streaming platforms do, like where you get all the episodes the
I
day
don't
before?
know because it as a kid it was week by week. I would have to like wait for it to air on the TV in England,
Yeah.
and I would wait every week, and it felt like it was longer, and I felt like I had the show for longer, but it was also so hard to wait a week. But then
Mhm.
I think sometimes I would have seasons to binge, but because I remember you could go on it, like the interactive TVs and binge the TV if it had it on there, you could watch them all. Sometimes it had that. I don't know though, because I really do like being able to binge a show and not have to
Yeah.
wait until. But then sometimes I don't go to bed because I can't stop watching, and that kind of causes problems with my brain. I don't know.
I know
But
I'm
then again,
impatient.
like, stuff like Disney Channel where they would air it every single day, that was cool too because you would only have to wait the next day. I don't think I like waiting week by week because I think it's too much torture. But then I think
Yeah.
when they do also stream it where they have it all out at once, sometimes they don't give you enough episodes.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I think, mentally, I would want it right then and there, but I think it's better for them to spread it out.
I think so too. I mean, I would pay so much money if they would not like if they kept the week by week thing and shortened the episodes like it was when it was on, live television and they give us back our 22 episodes. I
Yes,
want that back so badly. I don't care what format it's in, like the aspect ratio. I want my 22 episodes. I like
me
the fact that it was
too.
spread out. Because I feel like a lot of the times like both of the previous seasons, both 16 and 17, it felt too condensed, like they were rushing it or they didn't use the amount of time they had. So they start like this major cliffhanger at the end of, for an example, season 17, episode 2, the cliffhanger of, I was going to say Adam, Luke grabbing Voit and throwing him up against the jail cell, yelling at him, going, "What do you mean by that?" And what did you say? What are you talking about? You're a liar. And then it's resolved in like the next 5 minutes of the following episode. They did that consistently through the entirety of that season, and that drove me nuts. The pacing was really, really bad, and I feel like they still haven't honed that in so
You.
far in Evolution. I think this season's doing a lot better though.
Yeah, I think they're learning, and I think they understand that they have like core fans and some new fans, but the core fans really know what they're talking about, and if they listen to us, they can get it right. I think it is interesting though because because I started watching this going back to like how you started watching Criminal Minds.
Mhm.
I don't know how I got into it, but I remember I was watching like CSI and Law and Order and what was the other show? Cold Case. I loved Cold Case. All of these shows, and I was just obsessed with them. And I think when you're used to like a certain format, and then when they stop and they bring a whole new show and they try to add this and that, I think they need to. yes, you gotta do something that sticks to the times, but also stick to what, like, the fans love and know.
Yeah.
And I think they're starting to do that again and hope but I would love for them to have their long 22 episodes. I think Law& and
Yes.
Order is the only one that continues to have the episodes long, like and if they ever cut SVU down to 10 episodes, I'm gonna be banging on somebody's
I
door.
I will be emailing Mr. Hargitay myself. I will not stand for that, especially no, not with SVU. I think with you're right. I think they are learning what what the show would. I'm losing my words there. Um, the way the original series was with the pacing in the episodes, I feel like they still haven't gone back to the original. I kind of miss the original format. I like the idea of them because they could still do. In my opinion, I think they could still do both. Like if I had the opportunity to re-edit an episode the way it was with the compared to the original, the case of the week thing is not doing it for me. Like I like the nuance of every week, but it's not the same as them. Like it opens up with whatever the unsub is doing, like the zookeeper who did scare me and was also in
Yeah.
Daredevil. Wasn't he in Daredevil? Was he?
Yes, that was
Okay,
so okay, I'm gonna
yeah,
interject on that, but having a loved character that got murdered on Daredevil Born Again, that's been a part of a show that everybody's obsessed with, as, like, the sweet best friend who got horrifically murdered on screen, and everyone is traumatized, and there's so many theories on if he actually got killed or whatever, and then to see him, like, pop up as a sick, crazy serial killer, I was just like, they did not turn Foggy into a serial killer on my other favorite show. I was just like, I couldn't detach him from Foggy Nelson in
yeah,
Daredevil, and I just kept seeing him as this crazy serial killer. I was like, "No, I'm not gonna be able to see him as." I was like, "This is why they killed him in Daredevil." Oh my god, that was so weird, and the killer was so creepy and I was just like, and it
oh,
also felt like randomly thrown in there because well, within them dealing with like Voight and then
yeah.
the
I
stuff with
found it starting
Will.
getting choppy. It feels a little choppy. Like they're switching between two extremes back and forth. We're going to Voight and then, but there's no like segue or
Yeah,
I
there's
guess
not like
relevance. We know there's two storylines, but they're not blending in the way that they should.
yeah, I agree. It's like I'm
Can
watching
I
2 shows at the same time.
Can I just say I do love this show. I keep saying negative things about it, but I really love this show.
No, we're obsessed with the show. I think our criticism comes from us being so obsessed with the show that we still like what we see, but we're also like, well, it could have done this too. I think that comes from because if we didn't like the show, we wouldn't even be here talking about it, honestly.
No, but I kind of missed like going back to what I was saying earlier. Like the case of the week things, it used to start out a very specific way where we'd see the killer doing whatever he was doing, like the zookeeper was the lady in a cage, and then we get a little bit of the team like right before like we'll have that little personal thing like we
Yeah,
would see for example JJ's family and then we'd see her going into work and then we'd have the round table scene. They'd say wheel Emily would say wheels
wheels
open
up.
20 or wheels open 31 Hotch was doing it and then we'd have the opening credits. I kind of miss the opening credits
Me
and
too.
it's like it's such a lost thing. I miss that a lot and then they'd have the plane scene. We haven't been on the jet in forever. We haven't had a proper plane scene in forever. They don't even say wheels up anymore. Have we had a wheels up this season? That
No,
makes me
I
sad.
don't think so. I wonder why.
It's such an iconic thing too. And I also miss the relationship that they kind of built in the original series. Something that I didn't it was something I didn't even know was a thing when I first started watching the series that they would actually go to, different counties or different states and they'd work with that local law enforcement. In the first episode of this season, we saw that, they did interact with that Sheriff Boyd, I think is no, not that's the actual actor's name. I don't remember what his character's name was, but the sheriff. And then they take over the case. They don't work it with the Maryland PD or the Virginia PD or whatever. They just kind of took the case and it's solely the FBI now. I think part of the original series was them going, and that I liked the most, was them going into these different places around the US and working with
With
these
the
new, like, that used
department.
to be such a huge part of it.
'Cause you could also get more
Having,
guest stars that way. You could get, like,
yeah,
cool celebrities or, like, cool people from other, like, cop shows or something pop in.
it used to be also like a fun point of contention where Hotch we had seen him have beef with whoever's running the investigation, saying, "Oh, please don't nickname the killer." That's another thing they also dropped from the original series. They keep naming the killer after whatever their screen name is. They call Voight. They used to call Voight Sicarius when it used to be just the unsub, and they were really strict about that. Don't
Keeping
sensationalize the killer. They've lost so much of the original series, like the little parts that did matter. Saying "wheels up," saying the unsub even. I don't know. I miss that.
I know, I do miss that. Now that you're pointing that out, I'm starting to, like, real lives. Because when you watch something, especially when you, because when as a kid, like you religiously stuck to something and watched it, but when you're an adult, you consume so many other things. You like work, school, and then you tune in. Okay, I got a screener. I'm gonna watch it, but you kind of forget certain things. And now that you like spoke about that, I'm like, wait a minute, they really have not followed the
No,
any of the formula of the other show.
I
'Cause I do
know.
miss the round tables, like, they were every episode almost
Yeah,
practically. I
and it
miss the
drives
round
me nuts
tables.
when
And then when they
they
would have their little whiteboard and the stuff on it, and they would get the papers, like, it just felt like, "Ooh, what are we gonna get today?" You know?
yeah. So I feel like they've done the big stuff of going to the like that's the big thing, the case of the week. But they haven't done the little stuff that makes it feel like old Criminal Minds. And I understand, evolution, but there is some part of the original series that they should have kept.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
I think it's that. What I want to like divert back to episode 3. How do you feel about the eulogies? Did you make it through this episode without crying? Because I didn't.
I see, I think I did a lot of my crying when he died
True.
that I expected. 'Cause this isn't my, like, first major TV death where I know what's gonna happen next. I mean, there was even a death on the Rookie, and he wasn't, like, a very loved, like, Rookie officer, but he was, like, one of the originals, and he they just randomly killed him, like, and because the guy left the show in a weird way, the ending of the episode was, like, him getting shot and thrown in a trunk, and nobody knew that he was killed. We just thought he got shot, injured, and got kidnapped or something. And then when we find out, because his dad was, like, a high up chief in the show, that
Yeah,
he actually died, I was really sad and I was really upset, and I knew the next episodes would be like, goodbyes, and one of the other rookies named her newborn baby after him. It was really
yeah,
emotional. But they kind of his dad, who was a major part of the police department, kind of disappeared after his son's death. And I was like, well, he died, but he's still in the police department. He did, you know?
yeah.
So that was kind of weird. So I kind of expected that this would be like a very emotional episode. But I didn't cry because I did all my crying when Will died, and the time in between because I saw that episode ahead of everybody else, like 3 months ahead of everybody else or something. So I just I think the time of knowing that we kind of expected something to happen, but like knowing and watching it ahead of everyone and not being able to talk to anyone about it and losing my mind over it, I had that space to kind of like come to terms with it, and then because basically Bobby Nash's death, I found that out after that because I watched 911 while it was
Oh God.
happening on TV, whereas these screeners I had in advance. So I had time to like deal with Will's death before I saw this episode because they just gave me the third one like the other, last week or whenever it was. So I had time to cry, like deal with it and cry and kind of get over it. But it was hard, like knowing that and not having anyone else to talk to about because it was like such a blow.
I
So
think you were the only person
I
I
feel like I
spoke to
went through
about
my
it.
grieving process. So the funeral was like, I'm ready to say goodbye, you know?
Oh my gosh. I think I was gonna, as like almost like a joke. I forgot to do it. I should have done it because it was comical how fast I started. Like I thought I had done my grieving because the only person I talked to because we were like the only person who I know knew about the death was you. So I did tell you about my crash outs beforehand, knowing he was dead. And then when the episode actually aired, I didn't feel a lot of it when we watched him. That clip from season 16, him dropping to the ground or anything. I didn't really feel that much. It wasn't until like right when the episode started and they started playing the scenes from the wedding, where "As It Seems," which is one of my favorite songs by Lily Kershaw, from it was the song they played during the dance scene after her wedding in season 7. That started playing and I lost it. It was I think not even 5 minutes into the episode. Didn't even last 5 minutes. Oh my gosh! And the compilation of all of Will and JJ's moments, and then just to see her like face
I
drained
know.
on that couch.
And those
It
photos
was
that they released that week, those were so mean and sad. Like, why?
Oh gosh, and it was, like, right in the middle of, like you could see it in AJ Cook's face, the grimace while she's, like, going through the little sweet notes that Will used to leave her. Also, evil detail, that was evil.
So
That was so
that was
unbelievably evil. Oh,
that was like I don't even. And then at the end where the son finds like the gift or whatever, it was just I was like, listen, y'all, they are playing with us, our emotions. I can't. I don't know. I hope they never in the future of the show they ever make JJ date because
I
I
don't
can't
want
see her with
that.
anyone else.
I don't think they should. I really think like one scene, one part of the funeral scenes that really hit home how big of a thing this was. Like obviously it's a huge thing, but in Emily's eulogy, she says the love that you and Will have, not had. I don't know. That was such a big detail to me when
Yeah.
she says that it's the present tense. It's still very fresh, and knowing that that's not going away, like that's a very it's an intentional choice when they must have wrote that out to keep that in there. I don't want to see JJ get with anybody else.
Me either.
Especially not Reid or anybody like that. Oh my gosh, the confession thing haunts me. I've had so many people message me like, "Do you think Jade's gonna happen? Please don't. Don't do that to me.
No, no, I
Please don't
can't.
ask me that
I
question."
just that would freak me out. Mm-mm.
No.
No.
I remember when the confession episode aired and I think I was messaged by I wanna say like 40 people within an hour and a half of that airing. And it was everybody losing their minds, going, "Please don't tell me. Do you think this is gonna happen?" "I don't know. I
I
don't know. I
don't
feel like I'm
know.
being held at gunpoint,
Leave me
okay? They are
alone.
holding me hostage."
Yeah, no, that I can't. I mean, it would be so wrong, especially now.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I don't wanna see anything else.
No. No, thank you.
No.
Let JJ grieve and yeah. Mm-mm. It's so
I
weird
found
that
that
he's
so
gone.
weird.
'Cause
Yeah,
that
and it
they
was they're the hallmark. They are the people who show you a happy relationship can be a happy and healthy relationship can be had while you're in the BAU. They were the highlight of that. No one had to leave, no one had to die, and then well, he did.
yeah.
They were that happy, stable relationship, and I like that we had that anchor. And now we don't have that anymore. Will's dead.
Exactly, and even though they both came close to death so many times in the show, they still came through and pulled through, like, "They're not gonna do nothing to them," and then it just Will dies of a brain, whatever,
They
like
shot me. That's what they did. Um, I think they kind of pulled like another piece of representation out of that show because having a healthy, happy married couple with two kids and now they don't have that. Even their fights we've seen in season 7, episode 7, we see Will and JJ have this massive fight about, JJ not coming home or running off to work and that kind of thing. And they
yeah.
handle it so maturely. And it was really nice to see that in television, especially a drama where there isn't this big screaming match and they reconcile things like a healthy couple. And now we don't have that anymore.
I
I'm glad to
know,
see Rebecca and Tara are doing well, but
I
I don't
know.
know.
We have them for now, for
Oh,
now.
wait.
Even if nobody dies, somebody might break up.
I feel like seeing how happy they were in this episode is the calm before the storm because later on in the
Always.
season 18, episode 8 is named Tara. And anyone who's ever watched Criminal Minds knows that when a character has an episode named after them, all hell's about to break loose. So I think this is the
Yes,
calm before the storm before everything hits the fan.
and we've seen those BTS pics of her looking really, like,
Mm,
"Oh my god," you know?
we don't
So
know who she's talking to, but I think I know who she's talking to, but you know, knowing I know all the synopses for the episodes, they're gonna hurt Tara, and I worry about that. They're emotionally, physically, I don't know yet, but well,
something's
I do
gonna
know, but
happen, but I don't think they will, like they can't kill anybody off because they just kill someone
no.
off. They can't but they're gonna do something pretty shocking, but I don't think g unless they just go for it. Imagine they're just like, "Whatever, we're
Oh,
just gonna"
you know
like, "You
what
know
keeps
what?"
me sane is knowing they have that 4-year contract, the main cast, excluding, I think Zach and RJ, the main cast, that those 6, like the original core group, have a 4-year contract that is up after next season. So for season 20, so hopefully we get a season 20. All bets are off for there. They could absolutely kill them off. Otherwise, we're pretty good to have them in the next season. So I think that's
Yeah,
safe.
we got, like, a little bit more time. Oh my god, to
Yes.
think I hope they don't end it after season 20, though. Do you
Oh, where can
imagine?
they go? Rossi needs to retire. I
That's
don't want to see
right.
Joe leave, but at all. But
Oh,
Rossi.
Joe. I don't
Oh my
think
gosh.
but does Rossi want to retire? Really?
I mean, he was going to, and then they killed his wife.
Mm,
They keep killing off like. I don't. They need to stop doing that.
Rossi. Aw.
They
And
killed
then
Crystal, they killed Doug, they killed Will.
God, I just don't think they can have good relationships.
Oh, I'm tired of this.
Another show, this is completely, like, not connected, that had really toxic, like, relationships. Not that the relationships in here are toxic, but, like, them just kind of getting
Why
killed
do
off.
I think they'll do that
I
every
used to
time?
love watching Charmed, and
Oh, oh my
the
gosh.
fact that, like, there was, like, one relationship in it really that was, like the normal one that was like always stable and steady. But then the rest were just crazy. It was like they were either demons or the demon killed the husband or the whatever. It was just so toxic, but I love Charmed so much that I have a book of shadows. But yeah, that was
Yep.
the relationships, boyfriends, husbands, and Charmed were either demons killed by demons or they just didn't work out until the end of the show where they all happily got married and had kids. But it was like they just did that to show, oh, the sisters had a happy ending.
I don't
But
know
that
if
was
there is
weird.
a happy ending for the Criminal Minds characters. I don't know if they're ever gonna get that. I mean, we thought we'd have one for
I mean, yeah. Well, I thought Will and JJ would be forever, but no.
no, they hit me with the truck. I feel personally attacked by that. Like I was dragged by my hair while watching that episode. It was awful. Oh my gosh. It was great, but it was awful.
And were they making a cup of tea or something? Was she boiling water? I can't remember. It was like they were in the kitchen, and
Yeah. He
it's
was making something and then I don't know, I blacked that out for my
what did
sanity.
he say? He was like my brain, my head, or something like that. But
He's
now I'm
broken.
paranoid about headaches because I get a lot of headaches sometimes. I'm just like,
Oh
oh, well, at least they built awareness, I guess. Poor
my
Will.
right?
Everything he's been through, and then
I know, I was thinking about that. He went through a lot on the show. He watched two of his partners got murdered. And I didn't really think about that until, in the heat, his second episode, or yeah, his second episode, it's season 3, episode 17. He is on that case because he was the person who had to identify his partner. I think his name is Charlie Loubet. And that was the first time we witnessed it. Well, that was after losing his dad in the first episode we saw him in, and then also losing his childhood home
yep.
from Katrina. And then once again, it got worse. His partner died in season 7. His new partner died. She gets shot in the head at the beginning of the episode, which is why the bank robbery scene kind of ends up happening. It's a lot.
It is a lot, and I think my dog's gonna start barking, but
I'm looking at my
for
notes.
me to be like everything he went through and he died of natural causes. But I feel like if they had it if they got him killed or like an accident or something,
That's too much.
it would have been too much.
Yeah. I Oh, your audio cut out. I don't know if you can still hear me, or maybe it's me. Technical difficulties. Oh my gosh.
You me?
There we go.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm getting a phone. I'm gonna quickly do this phone call. We're doing a little mini break. It's to do with
Okay.
the thing I went to today. But you can if you want to keep talking to the audience, I'm just gonna mute this really fast.
Okay. I love it with me and my 10 people. Oh my gosh. I will open up the
Remember,
chat.
so with YouTube, it'll show 10, but like at the end of the live, it's like sometimes I'll get off the live and it's like 30,000 people. So today we'll probably have like a couple
Oh my
hundred because
gosh.
it keeps going up and down because people keep joining and adding and it goes up and down.
Oh, I will see. I've never done this before at all. Like, I don't, I mean, I used to use YouTube almost daily when, how do I do this? Oh my gosh. Oh, you can see the options. Um, I have never used YouTube before, so I'm gonna try and find out where the chat is. If you guys wanna, oh my god, chat viewing options. See, these aren't helpful. I don't know. Are there any questions we haven't like touched on or anything like that? I'm hoping I can see things pop up, but I don't know. Maybe I can go on the other side of things. I don't know. Somebody asked me a question. I can't see anything, but I got nothing. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Tell me about you. Like, I can't read the comments because I don't know how to work. Oh, how are you? Thank you. I'm good. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm gonna see if I can click on this. No, I can't. All right, I give up on YouTube. I am. I don't know. This episode kind of wrecked me. I wasn't expecting to sob as hard as I did. I was very emotionally distraught throughout the entirety of the episode, and the compilations with JJ and Will's final moments did not help whatsoever. Um, I also felt like all the Voight stuff was kind of crammed in there for the sake of having it in there, but I don't know. I will wait for Alyssa to come back. can't believe they killed off Will. I don't know what's gonna happen in the next episode, but I am hoping to see that JJ's support system is expanded beyond just the two girls. Hi.
I'm back.
I do not know how to work the chat thing. I was hoping you could see all of the chat
I
going
think
on.
you should just be able to scroll it up and down, but,
Oh, I got
I don't
nothing.
know, YouTube it's interesting. So, side note, so I told you I was in a real courtroom today,
Mhm.
um, and, like, before you, like they read out a bunch of different cases, and it was really crazy to because I've never been inside a courtroom. I've been given jury duty before, and I didn't have to go because of, like, the job at the time, but I went in, and it was just I it was like being in one of these shows, but it was also, like, very disorganized and not like the show, because in the show, it looks so, like, you go to court, you do this, blah, 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 and it just looks so, like, pristine and well put together, but this was, like, you go in there and all the public defenders are all talking like it's like they're in a coffee room, they're getting their clients, they're waiting for the people, and the judge is just calling people, and there's lawyers talking in the background, and it's so loud and all over the place, and I was like, "Wait a minute, this is not like how it is in TV." But then they were reading out some crazy cases, and I was like, "Oh my god, I might stay a little bit longer because this is interesting." I was like, "It's like a show," which is bad because it's like real lives and stuff. But I was like, "Oh my god, like this is where they get their storylines from," because I was hearing some insane stuff, and I was like, "This is where they I know there's writers who probably go to courts, and this is where they get a lot of their storylines from real life issues and crimes." Because that was interesting, and I was like, I got up at 6 a.m. and this was very interesting to know because some of the stuff that they come up with, some of the cases are so detailed and so good, and they'll in the previous show, they would connect everything so well, and you're like, "How do they come up with this?" And now I know, I'm like, "They're
Yeah.
probably doing it from real life experience." Um, but yeah.
I've like asked about this before. I don't understand how they come up with, some of the MOs in the cases or anything like that without, having someone look at them sideways. Because can you imagine? So season 17, episode 7 is Prawn. It's the one where the guys are getting trapped in like that glass enclosure and sprayed acid all over them.
Mhm.
How do you come up with that? Bring that to a room of writers and not have everyone question what you were doing the night before? Because that's so insane to me that someone could come up with something as terrifying as let's spray some guys down with completely innocent guys
Yeah.
with piranha solution. How do you do that? And I don't know. I don't think my mind has ever gone anywhere that dark.
I don't know, but it has to be from real life cases because there's actually there's also been a bunch of cases where, like, people have been attacked by acid on the street.
Yes.
SVU, I'm not SVU, Law& and Order, the actual, like, Law& and Order show, which is, part of not SVU because 'cause they're all separate. There's SVU, Organized Crime, and Law& and Order. So in Law& and Order, I've noticed that they replicate news headlines that have just recently come out.
Yes, they do
And
that
I
a
see
lot.
that, and I'm like, they did an episode where, like, a CEO got killed, and I'm like, "Isn't that the healthcare CEO that just got shot in New York? That's that
Yeah.
storyline." They literally did it, like, 5 months later, and I was like, "That's definitely." I like that they do that sometimes, and they change it out around, like, a little bit.
The original series for Criminal Minds used to do that a lot. I remember like one thing. It's always usually younger kids who start watching the show who like binge it all at once or didn't watch it as it was coming out. They don't really get that. A lot of some of like the weirder cases are actually taken from the headlines. Usually a year or two after. I find it like they kind of delay it a bit.
I
But
think
one
they
thing that
let, like,
can
time go to, like, be for, like, sensitivity purposes or whatever.
Yeah. One thing that I remember, because it was when I was in high school that this happened. We for one Halloween no, not for one Halloween, after 2016, we were never allowed to wear a clown costume because at the time those crazy killer attacks kept
Yeah!
clown attacks kept happening, and that was 2016. In 2017, season 13, episode 17, that was, it was the Capilano brothers. They did an episode on killer clowns. And that was so relevant at the time, but a lot of people have had, like, people who are I think they're, like, now, like, 17 ask me, like, "Why on earth were they doing things like that?" But it was relevant when it came out, and so I see that happening. They don't do that as much in the new series anymore, but in the older one, they absolutely would rip things from the headlines, like, the way you put it.
Yeah,
So,
they really need to do that, like, a little bit more. I mean, I love the cases that they handle, but I feel like it makes it but then it's like, how are they gonna have to sit around and wait for something to happen? But there's actually things there are so many crimes that happen that we don't talk about, like, that are not publicized, that are not in the news media, something like, that just don't get the attention, unfortunately, which is sad, and I feel like they can dig and find it. In fact, there's been episodes where I found out about a case because of an episode, which I always think is very
yeah,
clever.
I
Somebody said,
think
"Have you ever seen Flight Plan with Jodie Foster?"
I have
I have
not.
seen Flight Plan with Jodie Foster. I think that's the one where she's on a flight with her kid, and then her daughter disappears, and then she's
Oh,
telling the people on the plane, but they're like, "No, you don't have a daughter. You're basically crazy." And she's like, "No, I have a kid." And then I think that at some point they convince her that she is nuts and that she doesn't have a kid, but then it's a whole conspiracy and she does have a kid and somebody like took her and it's a whole thing and it's on a plane while they're in the air, so it's wild. I
okay.
think I need to rewatch that. It's pretty good.
I'm gonna put that on my list. Okay,
Yeah,
I've
put
never
that
heard of
on your
that.
list for those little in between times from Criminal Minds. Oh my god, why is it I'm getting so many phone calls? I'm like, "Please, I needed 1 hour." See him.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think one episode that to this day, because I'm Canadian, so it haunts me in like the most real sense. And it's also one of those episodes that almost everybody remembers. If I talk to somebody, and they bring up Criminal Minds, the episode they 9 times out of 10 bring up it's based off of, I think his name is Robert or William Picton. I know he goes by either name, but it's the pig episode. It's the season 4 finale where
Oh,
they're going on the pig farm, and that did happen in Canada. It was in British Columbia, which is closer to your side of the country. But they made it take place in Sarnia, Ontario, and it was close to home. It was based off a real case, someone actually feeding pigs to people, or feeding people to pigs.
yeah, well, I remember that. I remember reading that. I was like, "What? They're doing
It's a
that?"
real thing, and so was Riding the Lightning. It's a really I'm surprised at how popular this episode is. It's season 1, episode 14, where they have the 2, it's like the husband and wife killers who are in the prison cell, and they're interrogating them. They're on death row, and they're trying to find those last few victims before they're put to death.
I remember.
That, I think, is based off of the Barbie and Ken killer from Scarborough, Ontario, which is, the province I'm in. Um, and so that's really close to home. I remember after I watched that episode for the first time, I went to my mom and said, "Is this what that's talking about?" And like Carla Homolka is the who I think would be the parallel to Sarah Jane. She's evil. Um, Not the character. The actual woman is evil.
Person.
Um, my mom was telling me about what it was like being in the area at that time while those murders were happening. And it's so interesting to see how closely they follow the case, but they change the littlest details to, for obviously for television. But I've seen that a lot, and I always notice it in the cases that are closer to home, I should say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like isn't that interesting? I mean, I like that they do that, and I like that they stick to it but change it a little bit. But the fact that that was close to you is kind of freaky
Oh my
and
gosh, and
creepy.
people
But I
still
also
talk about
love
it.
that. I love that
People
because
talk about it still. Like everybody, I can't. Paul Bernardo, I think is his name. Everybody who lives close to like the GTA area knows. I don't live there anymore, but they know that name. Anybody who's over the age of, I want to say, like 30 knows that name because it's such a famous case. And when they did it in Criminal Minds, I don't think a lot of people make that connection that it's relevant to the cases or that the two are connected. But I think a lot of people, like people who are from where I am, they recognize that and they see that in Criminal Minds and seeing it being replicated. And I know a lot of people get really excited in the U.S. when the team goes to their state. I don't know. I've never had that happen. Obviously, well, I actually have, but not my like as close to my city. So
yeah,
I know that's a
exactly.
huge thing. Having the FBI is here, close to your home.
I know,
I don't know
especially
what
when
I'd
it's
do.
like or especially when they go to like cities like they've gone to places that I've never even heard of, you know?
Yeah,
And it's interesting because LA is LA. Crap happens here every time. But where I don't live like in like Hollywood or whatever, but where I
yeah.
live close to is the ranch where the Manson family like stayed.
Oh, oh my gosh.
And there's
Mercy on
like
all
the
of us.
Manson cave and it's crazy because you could also drive like see and then if that's where they stayed, but then they got on the freeway and drove to Cielo Drive in is it Studio City, like in the hills area where they killed the Tates and then they went to Hollywood, where they killed the LaBiancas. All of that I mean, the cave is like 10 minutes away, but everything else is only like 30 minutes away, and it's so creepy. But I mean, LA also, I've seen a lot of the Criminal Minds case where they replicated like the Golden State Killer, the Night Stalker, because LA, California had a lot of serial killers in the
Yes, they
70s.
did. Oh
For
my gosh.
whatever reason, I'm glad they're not around now, but sometimes when
Not
it's
that
like
you know
hot
of. Sorry.
no, literally, because okay, there's an app called Citizens app, and it tells you if there's certain offenders in your area. And this is really random, but Nicki
Oh
Minaj's
my
husband
gosh.
lives close. Well, Nicki Minaj lives close,
Oh
and
my gosh.
because her husband is on the offender list, it popped up with the address of where they live. So Nicki Minaj's address is basically on this app to the public because
Oh my
he's an
gosh.
offender and it's on the app, which is crazy. But sometimes when we leave like like what is the door? The door, not that door open, but the slider thing, the net, because it gets hot
Yeah, the screen
and we
door.
don't want to turn the air on. I will he'll leave it on, and I'm like, "No." I wake up at 3 in the morning, and I panic shut it because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, what if the Night Stalker comes in?"
I will not be the one. No,
I am not gonna be the one.
I do not plan on being part of any Criminal Minds episode or any real life crime
Nope.
case. Knock on wood. But
No, thank
um,
you.
something that is brought up a lot in the show when they refer to cults is my family is from Guyana, and if you've like anyone who knows the history of Guyana knows that Jim Jones's cult,
Yeah.
drink the Kool Aid, that whole thing, is took place in Jonestown, Guyana. And so I have grown up there before, and so like it's kind of one of those things you don't talk about, and so they bring it up a lot. So I find that almost everybody has a way of relating to an episode of Criminal Minds. Like they bring that up a lot. Any
Yeah.
cult episode that comes up often, and I don't know. I guess Criminal Minds is really for everybody in like the worst way possible.
I know, I feel like you can't not like it, like, if I just gave somebody, like, "Hey, go watch this show," they would like it and they would wanna watch more because it's not just like a, crime
Yeah,
FBI show. It's way
a lot
more
of
like
people tell me it's too dark.
CSI was very, like, interesting the way they put it together and showed you, like, the CSI, like, the nerdy part of it, but I think it took, like, a certain audience, and they did have, like, a family aspect too, but I think with Criminal Minds, they make it a little bit more relatable, and I don't know, it's just such a good show. I don't ever want it to, like, go away, and I think if it does, I'll just go back and watch from season 1 again because I feel like your brain, even after a certain amount of time, if you leave something long enough and then you go and rewatch it, it's almost like watching it again for the first time.
Unfortunately, I have a photographic memory, so that's
Yeah,
why I know
you
all the
do, because
episodes
the
also.
way you were, like, running off the episode numbers and the seasons, I was like, "Okay, I thought I was a fan," but the fact that you know episode
So
1, like, season
I
1,
remember
episode
it
14, I was like,
I
"Okay."
remember it vividly, very vividly, and it's very useful in my opinion for like
No,
doing
it
what I do.
is.
But for me, going back and watching some of the episodes, it's like I can picture an episode from like start to finish. But it's another thing to actually go back and watch the episodes itself. Like I think earlier today I was watching the cult episode, season 4, episode 3 with minimal loss, and like seeing that all pieced together, there's nothing like going back and rewatching this like some of the older episodes and getting that sense of nostalgia and everything else that goes along with it. I don't know. There's always it's I'm never not in the mood to rewatch an episode of Criminal Minds.
I know, and I never feel, like, bored rewatching, if that makes sense. Like, some
No.
people there's some things I just can't rewatch because 'cause I'm like, "Well, this again." I never ever feel bored. I love it. Now, before we close out,
Yeah.
what's one is there, like, a dream person that you wanna see appear on the show? Not, like, somebody who's already been on the show, like,
Oh my
somebody in the
gosh.
world of, like, entertainment.
Entertainment. I mean, I feel like I'd have to immediately because I love Patrick Brewster. I wanna put in Mariska Hargitay because I wanna see those 2
Yes!
back on screen together. That's gotta come in because I know, like, well, they worked together before, and so we know how that was amazing, but and they like each other, so I'd love to see Mariska come in, maybe at let's do an SVU crossover. I know it's never gonna happen, but I want that. I can be delusional about that and say that. Who would you pick?
That was one of my choices, yeah. Detective
Sorry,
Benson.
my bad.
It's crazy, I'm trying to have, like, a memory thing. So, back in the day, they used to cross over shows that were not, like, spin-offs of each other, and I can't remember what
Yeah.
show it was, but I have this memory of them doing it, and I can't remember what show it was, but if I wanted to see somebody in Criminal Minds, I would just let me think,
You have to think about that because I've like besides Mariska, I don't know who else is coming to mind about who I'd want to
Criminal
see.
Minds.
I
Who
don't
would I
know.
wanna see? I don't think anybody from The Rookie would fit in there at all.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I think Grissom from CSI making a comeback into the crime world, into Criminal Minds as somebody like they may consult on a case would be cool because he
Yes.
did he like wasn't in at the end of CSI. He's not in it anymore, but I think, like, randomly bringing him back into, like, Criminal Minds would be, like, fun because it's like, "Grissom, I thought you weren't, in CSI anymore," and but he's like because we don't know where is he now? Like, he could be, like, doing something, and it could be some consultation thing or head of something. I don't know, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I really and truly, no one came to mind faster than Mariska for
But
that
if it
one.
was, like, a guest star, like a celebrity that's not even in, like, a crime show,
Oh
it
gosh.
would be funny to have Drew Barrymore be a victim
Oh
because
my
of just
gosh,
the Scream
Scream.
movies.
Scream, yeah. Oh my gosh, I should have gone there. That would be
That would be
fun.
funny, but she would be playing like a serious victim in this, which is a complete opposite to like what she played in Scream.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that would be
I think that'd
fun.
be killer.
That would
I think
it would
it's
be totally killer.
oh wow, I can't believe I just said that. Oh my gosh.
No,
That
but the
does
movie that it's a
I didn't
movie
even
it's a,
think
there's a
about
movie
that.
called Totally Killer.
Oh,
I saw it. I can't remember what happened in it. It was one of those like stream movies that you watch once and forget what the hell happened.
one
But
of my favorite tropes ever is whenever they invite like a high profile celebrity and they get killed almost immediately. Like they did that with that was the shock factor of having Drew Barrymore in Scream, the original Scream.
that
I
they
would
killed
love
her
to see
like
them do
that.
that. Yeah, it's like when you watch Fear Street, obviously, having Maya Hawke in I can't remember which one, but she's in one of the movies and she gets killed like almost immediately.
They did that again
And
in the new one. They did it with the one of the big stars, the girl from Barbie.
okay.
They do it in the new
I
one that's
haven't
on Netflix
I have
today.
okay, I'm gonna watch that tonight that I need to
I
see.
still need to post that freaking I keep forgetting. I made the clip. I'll post it at some point. I swear. I'll
It's
text you
okay.
before I post it. It's just been
Don't
a
worry.
crazy day, couple of days. I've been dealing with life outside of like media, and I'm like, I forgot that there was a life outside of movies and TV, like actual life, that stuff you have to deal with. But this has been really fun. I think what we can
Yes.
do, we can start taking like questions from people too,
Yes.
and
Or, like,
like
have them beforehand, like, I can put a little story box for people to ask, like,
yeah, we can do
um
that and, like, grab comments and stuff, and then I've been emailing, like, Paramount and CBS, so hopefully they give me something other than just screeners and synopsises.
yes.
I emailed I paid for this service, which is, like, all the people in the industry use to get emails for talent,
Nice.
so hopefully that will help me get the emails for other people to interview. Hopefully Joe. I really wanna interview Joe.
Yeah.
Joe's one of my
I'm
I've
partial
been
to
wanting
seeing
to interview
Paget
him.
come back, you know I am.
I
But
know,
and also Aisha
I need her
Tyler.
to come back. Maybe if we, like, blow up her Twitter and she'll come back, but,
I'll ask.
I got her I noted all of the emails down, so I'm gonna start doing I think this weekend I'm gonna just email all of their reps and be like, "Hey, you know,
Thoughts and prayers, guys.
let's do an interview after the episodes are airing," because it's always, like, important. People still wanna talk about it, and it's more
Mhm.
fun because we can ask about their reaction to certain things, whereas when you do it before, you gotta kinda, like, talk on eggshells, like, "Oh, what was your" it's hard because you don't wanna spoil it, but I feel like doing them after is always, like, more fun.
Yeah. Well, this was fun. I enjoyed this a lot.
I
I'm a
know,
lot
it's
less
so fun.
nervous.
Are you on EST time? On Eastern time? So you're on this
Yes,
side,
I
right?
am.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna be on Eastern time for 2 days from Monday to Thursday because 'cause I'll be in New York City.
Oh my
But
gosh.
I really wanna move to that side of the coast, but we'll get there. But yeah, this was so fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's definitely do it again like, maybe we can do it week I mean, it depends on your schedule, so I'll text you.
Yes.
But everybody, thank you for joining. Please follow all of us. I'm pretty sure it's pretty much your followers and my YouTube followers anyway. So if you haven't already subscribed, subscribe to both of our
Hi.
pages. It will actually show up on this live when the live posts to the channel after.
Yeah.
And then all of the descriptions for IG are in there. I can then go and add it into this live description for you guys to find it easier. And yeah.
Thank
Oh,
you for
thank you
having me. This was really
guys.
fun.
No, this is both of our spaces. So
And thank you to my friends who did show up to support me because I did get a lot of messages. That's why I kept looking off to the side. So thank you for that, guys. I feel a lot better. Oh my
no, you're
gosh.
great. Like when you have passion for something, it always comes off. And we wouldn't be talking about it unless we loved it. I mean,
Absolutely.
there are some shows and some like movies that I could talk about because I don't like them, and I just don't understand why that much money was used to make them. But we don't wanna spread negativity. So
I
also,
understand that. I say after critiquing this entire series for the
yes.
majority of this hour.
Also, somebody said Catherine Hahn. That would be
Yes.
Agatha all along in Criminal Minds. It was Criminal Minds
All
all
I
along.
heard was
That's
Catherine
funny.
Hahn and immediately went, yes. So that shows you my perspective on her. I love her.
Yes, I love her too. I interviewed her for Agatha all along, so that was fun.
Oh my gosh.
Um, yeah,
All
so
right.
it's always so weird when you, like, interview someone for a certain show and then they do another show and you're like, "Oh my god, I wish I could have interviewed them for" and then sometimes when I'm interviewing somebody and I know they're gonna be in something else, and I'm like, "Can I just sneak this question in? Will they mind?" But I always do it anyway because 'cause I'm like, it's not like I'm asking a personal question, it's another nerdy
True.
fandom of mine. But anyway, I could go off on a tangent forever. But yeah, this is super fun, guys. Make sure you
Yes.
follow both of us. We'll do this as if you guys like this, we'll do it all the time pertaining to our
Yes.
schedules.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again.
Of
And
course.
hope until next time, I guess.
Yes, and
Thank
have
you.
a wonderful night, and I'm gonna text you.
Oh, you bye. How do I do this? Oh my
Bye.
gosh.
Oh, I'll exit out, it's fine.
Perfect. Hi.
Bye.